All right, what's good, everybody? Hopefully, everybody can hear me now. Let me actually make sure. I'll jump on my phone, make sure that we are good. I apologize for that. I have no idea how my mic got disconnected from the OBS or from the stream itself, but hopefully, we are good now. I'm just going to give it a couple seconds again, let everybody else join back onto the call. Let me actually just hear. All right, yes, you guys can hear me. Okay, perfect. All right, again, I do apologize for the last stream where you guys could not actually hear anything I was saying. For some reason, my mic was disconnected from the stream. It's always like something new. Every time I'm trying to like make this as perfect as possible, OBS or the stream is always interrupted by something. But I'm happy that we're good. I'm happy we're back on. Again, thank you guys real quick. Well, you guys didn't even hear me before, but for anybody who is watching, who is actually attending onto these sessions, I highly, highly appreciate your time. Obviously, I wanted to jump onto the charts, really mark up some things, get some ideas of what the market gave us this week, and then also identify what's going to happen potentially for next week. We can game plan in a sense of what could potentially happen in the future, whether it's today or even Saturday, Sunday. The markets are currently closed, which I figured is probably the best time for us to jump onto a chart or onto a session rather on a Friday, because Fridays you technically are not trading. I know people still trade, which is perfectly fine. If you have strategies, you understand your risk, you understand your discipline, by all means, feel free to trade on a Friday. But me personally, I do not. So waking up early on a Friday morning to try to identify anything within the charts is not my forte. It's kind of like not my thing. But as the markets close on a Friday, being at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will be able to get some strong ideas as far as, I know I'm on Bitcoin right now, so this market's not closed, but in the sense of what we're looking at for Forex, you're not necessarily wanting to trade on a Friday, so you can kind of just sit back and just kind of relax and just allow the markets to develop into something that you can identify leading into next week. Since the markets are closed, I figured we just jump onto a call and I'll be able to answer any and all questions if you guys had any. So right now, I don't believe too many people will be on the stream right now, so probably no questions, probably no charts will be wanted to be seen. I'm just doing this again to build this community of traders or trading in general, so that way we can obviously have a strong community of professional and I would say enlightened and profitable, consistent traders. So that way money could just be shared throughout the entire community on a daily basis. So I'm trying to stay as consistent as possible with these sessions. So Monday through Thursday, obviously in the morning, and now Fridays we're going to be doing these at 5 p.m. So that way obviously we're not trading during the time where we're not supposed to, being able to identify a bunch as we continue. So real quick, before I actually go over anything that you guys would like to identify, if anybody's on the call currently, I actually do want to go over Bitcoin. This is what I was speaking on rather, when I realized I was not actually being heard. But I do want to go over some things here with Bitcoin. I always get questions on cryptocurrencies, so I really want to make sure that I'm kind of giving some information and knowledge on this. Now, what I'm saying is on a technical standpoint, and this is just my belief, this is not something that I know is going to happen or have any crazy information, but I think Bitcoin is going to, and this is again just my opinion, this is not a fact. Obviously, what I'm saying could be wrong and the market just skyrockets, but I think right now what we're going to be identifying with Bitcoin is a strong sell back down to these areas. Now, that's just me. I know a lot of people probably like, Jay, you're crazy. But if we look at this on a technical standpoint, we'll be able to understand exactly what I mean rather. So I do understand that Bitcoin has made highs. It's made these highs, but those highs have not been broken. And in fact, since they have not been broken, it's been selling pretty heavily. And as it's been selling, you're able to see how the market is developing. What we have here is a strong head and shoulders pattern. And if you don't think this is an important pattern, there would not be an individual tool made for it. It's being the right shoulder. And you can see the break below that actual neckline. Now, if we actually draw with a trend line, the neckline of this pattern, you can see that it's being perfectly respected. Now we just do this, right? So you see the break of said trend line. Let's actually just do this, call out break of structure or trend line or neckline, whatever you want to do, but I'm just keeping it simple, of break of structure. It's kind of, I have no idea why it's blurry. I do apologize on that. That's something I've been trying to fix as well. But for some reason, YouTube is just like a weird thing. I'm looking on my end. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe it's because I was zoomed all the way out for a second. But on my end, it doesn't look too bad. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad on your end either. I'll try to make sure that I fix the quality on this. But I know you guys can see everything. I know you guys can see the actual markup. I think the only thing you guys are probably not seeing is the lettering. So we'll actually make it a little bit more bold if we can. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger for you guys to see. Because I am taking a peek on my phone to make sure that you guys are seeing and hearing as well. So that way you guys are not, you know, just on a call and not getting any type of information. But I do see, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Yep, let me see. It's popping up. Yeah, there is a huge delay on this. Jesus, I'm watching it on my phone really quick. And there, yeah, there you go. Now you guys can see break of structure. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is, again, since we have the break of that structure, we do have the break of that trend line as well, we'll be able to see this. Since it's broken that structure point and it's also broken, or rather the trend line and the neckline, rather, it's also just broken a simple level of support. And we can see the retest of that support. So that's telling me the market is most likely going to want to sell, right? And if it's really, really blurry for everybody, if it's like unbearable, please let me know. So that way I can go ahead and make sure that it's fixed up. But on my end, it doesn't look too bad. Maybe if you go full screen. So no, full screen is probably going to be better. I have mine on full screen. I can see everything pretty significant. But right again, so I'm looking at this as our potential sell zone. Now, obviously, it's just ranging there for a bit, so I'm not going to go too crazy and start placing any entries or invest, rather, especially not invest. I'm not going to invest into something that I don't believe is going to start buying just yet, but strong sell zone. That's important to me because, again, if I can see some sells from here, am I going to start investing into Bitcoin? No. Can I day trade this to the downside if anybody wants to day trade this? Absolutely. I think that's the future idea or the long-term aspect. And I'll actually just go ahead and draw this significant level of structure down here, the support, because obviously that's the last lows. And if that low is broken, then we know the long-term market is probably going to continue to push down lower. So game plan for next week. There's a few things that we could do here with Bitcoin. And this is on the investment side, or if anybody looks good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is on the investment side. If anybody wants to day trade this, you can also do that as well. My personal opinion, again, I just I just invest into this. I do not day trade this whatsoever. But what we can do is identify this as an investment range. Right? I go into my crypto wallet. I'll start investing how much ever I want. And hopefully get an ROI from here to maybe, because I mean, this is still a technical standpoint, take my profits if it goes from there, from here to here rather. Obviously, if it breaks above, then we just got a beautiful spot for, you know, a reinvestment on cryptos, and then it skyrockets. So I do think that that's kind of what we're looking at as, and I say kind of because nothing within the market is for sure. But I do see this market respecting the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern that was currently broken. You can see the trend line, or i.e. the real neckline, if you will, because there's two ways that you can really determine a neckline on a head and shoulders pattern, but that's a completely different topic. But both of those aspects are broken, retested, and if we actually scale down to a smaller time frame, being the daily, we would actually take our fibs from the swing highs here to swing lows, and you'll be able to identify that right within our sell zone, there was fib confluence of that 61.8. So that's beautiful. Now it's choppy. It's not giving us too much, right? The market is just kind of like stuck there. But I do think long term, I mean, this can even come back here. This is beautiful. If anybody does day trade cryptos, at least for Bitcoin, you can actually wait for the market to reach those highs again, identify what previous history has done, and then look for potential sells back down to those lows. If you are day trading this, obviously you're not going to go into a crypto wallet and invest into this if it's in a sell. But that's a strong idea here that I see with Bitcoin. Just to get it started off with, real quick, I do appreciate everybody who's currently on the call. I really want to extend my gratitude to you guys spending time on these sessions and helping me grow this community. I was saying it before, but you guys couldn't hear me. I really am trying to grow this community through just pure value, pure, education, pure profits. And I don't think that trading on a Friday or being on a session on a Friday morning is relevant. I do think that right now, since the markets are closed, this is a beautiful time for us to all get together and really game plan for next week and identify what the markets have given us this week to really get a strong thing or a strong understanding. Like, okay, well, this did this week. It was bullish before, now it's bearish. Let's identify why it's bearish or bullish, or if a change of trend or a continuation as well, and really make sure that we can game plan and identify our trades for next week. So again, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. If you guys can share this with anybody, like the video, that'll be great, because again, this is just going to help you guys in the long run. I do know that we can grow this community to hundreds, if not thousands of people, and it's just going to be pure profits and charts being shared throughout our community. And that's just going to benefit you guys, and my students will benefit from this the biggest, because I do have a lot of plans for you guys, especially as this community grows. The more this grows, the more value you guys will have, because obviously there's going to be a community also helping backing you guys up in the Discord as well. So trying to grow this so that way everybody benefits. So I appreciate all the help that you guys are giving me. So real quick, before I continue, before I actually go take a look at some other charts, I do want to take a look at gold, some yen pairs as well. I'm going to take a look at like 4 or 5 charts. I'm not going to keep you guys too long, unless obviously you have questions, or if there's any other markets you guys would like to identify and go over. But I just want to give you a strong understanding of what I believe would be profitable for next week, and just identify what is given us this week, so that way we can obviously be profitable and stay above the rest for next week as well. So I am looking at the chat, so if you guys have any questions, any charts you specifically would like to identify, feel free to let me know. I also have the Discord available for you all. If you are associated with the Discord, you could send your charts up. For some reason, YouTube will block your charts from being sent up here in the chat, and it'll be easier for me to actually get to your chart here, so that way I can pull it up here and mark anything up and really correct. But if you guys have any charts you want to share, feel free to let me know as well. But let me actually go ahead and take a quick look at gold. Now gold, and we'll talk about the technicals really quick, but we'll talk about the fundamentals, which I think is the bigger deciding factor of what is happening throughout this entire market. A lot of people are struggling as far as trading is concerned with how the market is reacting. I think a lot of people don't understand that factor of the world events and how it's playing a gigantic role in everything we're doing, right? We're still going through COVID, but in the sense of the market, it just kind of got out of that weird funk of COVID. Now, with the war in Ukraine and the invasion and everything, that also put huge movements in the market, and really is making this more along the lines of a fundamentally based idea instead of a technical idea, especially with all the sanctions and tariffs and everything that the United States is doing. It's actually weirdly, as weird as this is, it's increasing the value of the dollar. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that can't be true, Jay. Like, everything on a fundamental aspect in these news releases that I'm looking at, it's saying the dollar is bearish. If we take an actual look, and I know I was just on gold, but the DXY is correlated with gold. If we take a look at the DXY, the dollar index obviously is just representing what is the US dollar and the movement of it. I don't think we've reached our highs. I think our highs would be met from up here, actually. I kind of changed my analysis a little bit because of what I do think the dollar will end up doing. So I do think with the DXY, and again, seeing that if we do have a bullish dollar, there's no real resistance that this will meet until we reach here. That's on a technical standpoint, right? That's just technically what I'm thinking. Obviously, it could do whatever it wants, but what I do believe is with how the dollar is reacting, with how bullish it currently is across all pairs, for like if we go look at the majority of anything, I think except for USD CAD, the Canadian dollar has been taken over for the majority of the time. But what I would look at is, again, this being our strongest resistance. But what that means for me is string resistance, definitely not. What that means for me is if that is a level of structure that I'm assuming will be met, it's not going to sell until it gets there. Hindsight, common sense, it's going to be continued bullish for a pretty long time. I'm on the weekly time frame. So the dollar will continue to be bullish. And the reason why I'm stating that is because the dollar is bullish. We should be looking at selling factors within gold, a market that I personally like to trade. So if we see that the dollar, the DXY, let me just write this out. DXY, which is US dollar, if that itself is increasing in value, the dollar, gold should be selling. If you guys don't understand that, what's good, Loris? If you guys don't understand that factor, Google it. I tell my students that all the time, or as far as like why the dollar and gold is correlated in a sense. But if you don't understand that factor, if you don't trade that way, learn. It's very important. So I understand it again. When we looked at the DXY, it seemed as if it was nowhere near reaching a sell point. But gold did just hit a sell point, right? Strong structure. I'm just going to put structure. So strong structure. Apparently I can't spell. I think I still fucked that up, but whatever. Strong structure, resistance to the upside. So if I could see something like that, I want to identify any potential sells. Confluence, technical analysis. That candlestick is very important. If you don't know why, go figure it out. Again, that's not to sound disrespectful or rude, but that's because if you do your own due diligence research when you're learning something, you retain the knowledge more and you never forget it. So candle confluence, in a sense, at least for this time frame. Right now on the weekly. Now we're getting a strong idea of what should be happening in the future for gold, right? Because the weekly time frame. Why is that important? Because this candlestick just closed bearish. This candlestick closed rejective. So that's already forming an idea in the back of my head. Scale down to the daily. Is there any other candlestick patterns I can identify? Yes. These two. That one there. If you're not familiar with what no wick of a candle means, go figure it out. I promise you it'll help you. How are you doing, bro? I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. Trying to educate, grow this community. Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to close my window here. I apologize for the noise in the background. I'm in New York City and it's real hot outside right now. So everybody outside, it's always noisy. There's always background noise. No matter if it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, you will hear something. So I do apologize. New York City is wild, especially now. So I do apologize for that. But as you can see here, we're starting to get some confluences and ideas that gold is starting to look for itself. If we scale down to a 4-hour time frame, oh snap, does that look a little bit better? Does it look like something I would say valuable? Again, we're game planning for next week by understanding the clues that were left to us this week. I'm going to draw this trend line actually from here. We'll do it like that. And there is, let me actually see if there's another. Yeah. So we actually have 2 trend lines. Now, I do actually have a PDF on, or a section in my PDF where there is explaining the differences between trend lines, what they mean and how to trade them. So we have basically our normal trend line and we have more of an accelerated or immediate trend line, and that one's broken. This one's respected, which is beautiful because that caused a nice correction. If we look left, we can actually just draw some structure here as well. Now I'm going to get rid of this trend line. We know it's broken. I'm not going to keep anything too crazy. I'm actually going to get rid of this trend line as well because, I mean, I'll know when it's broken if this level of structure is met. As you see, I'll identify what's important, lock that in my head, delete what's not needed, and keep on the chart what I do need. I'm not trying to keep my, everything complicated. I trade very easy, very simplistic. So that way, it's once you jump onto the charts, you know exactly what you're looking for and you execute immediately. You're not, on the charts just, I don't know what I'm doing. Is this bullish? Is this bearish? You'll figure it out. You'll not figure it out. You'll know immediately within a few seconds of jumping onto a chart. So again, this level of structure was respected. Again, you can see impulsive move came right back up. So me being able to see that, what can I do? Well, I do think that with this, I don't know if anybody's seen it. I was giving you guys a little bit of time to actually just kind of like chill, fix your eyes, or train your eyes rather, to see the pattern that we just went over previously, a pattern that's very important. But we have a head and shoulders pattern, another head and shoulders pattern. How important are these? Extremely. And you can see the break to the neckline there. Why is that important? We're actually going to draw the neckline trend line here. That will be the neckline. What's important, the reason why I'm looking at that is because, again, you can have a retest of structure and sell, or obviously the trend line and then sell. So right now, I think with gold, we should be looking into next week and be looking at a bearish market. Now, again, this is all subjective. I can't sit here and be like, yes, absolutely, gold is 100% a sell and we should be selling. No, absolutely not. But what I do think with the clues that are being left behind, we should be looking for strong sells to the downside here. Now, what I am going to do I'm actually going to fix my my structure and just going to put it here because obviously that would be my first level of take profit, and I mean that's a great move if so. But I mean, yeah, there's a beautiful. Oh, we actually have to use our fibs as well. Swing high, swing low. I want to get as much confluence as I possibly can with my trades. So that's something that we could look at. Either one of those levels should be a potential entry point for gold leading into next week. And then obviously we could just do this because it doesn't necessarily have to retest. So we do this as well. If structure is broken without retest, we sell on break. Meeting a breakout trade. I cannot spell today. Structure. There we go. If broken, if structure is broken without retest, we will sell on the break. And that's very self-explanatory. We're just going to look for the breakout. We'll sell the breakout, especially with something like gold. It'll most likely just have a strong impulsive move to the downside. Especially with a break, you're never going to get a weak one. So try to capitalize on the breakouts when you find them. And that's just here on gold. Again, thank you guys for being on. I see a lot of people on currently. I do appreciate it. But I don't hear anybody. You guys have any questions? Any other charts you guys would like to take a look at? I'm only going to take a look at like three, 4 charts. This is our second one. So we got like 2, maybe even 3 more left. Again, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know it's Friday. You guys can be doing anything with the people who are here. You guys are here with me, expanding your knowledge and really making sure that you're getting to the next level of trading. So kudos to you. And I can't give you more of my gratitude than I am now. I mean, it's very important that I educate. I love teaching. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I absolutely love teaching this. So if you guys have any questions, any other charts you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Again, I want to stay relevant and really make sure that I'm helping you guys succeed. Whether you're a legacy student or not, it's important that I reach out and give as much value in a positive way to everybody who follows. Somebody said GU. I mean, this is why the markets are just doing whatever they want. Well, this is an easy one to see, if you will. I mean, not really, actually, because there's a few ways that we can actually look at this. So going on to the weekly, very easy idea. The market's bearish. You're not, and I know everybody's like, no, Jay, it's not bearish. It's bullish. If you go from these lows to these highs, that's a buyer's market. You said you're in a buy looking to take. I want to see your view on it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see the buys as well in a short-term aspect, though. Because overall, this market's still very much bearish, right? I'm on the weekly time frame. We're creating lower lows, lower highs. So we have that bearish trend line that was obviously respected multiple times. This is actually a bearish trend line I've used in multiple entries throughout a while. Actually, I've taken a few entries based around here. This has been what, since like last year? Yeah, since last year. So I actually took an entry here. I took an entry here, and I took an entry here. I remember that specifically, which is weird. And we also do have a bearish channel. If this is one of these, oh, I think this might actually be it. One of these pound pairs has a beautiful channel, a descending channel. And if I'm correct, it might actually be GU. It's one of these pound pairs. But there is actually a descending channel, and you're already respecting the bottom half of that descending channel. But there's a few things you want to take a look at, right? If you are looking at a bearish market, and we'll scale from every time frame, there's something that you need to take a look at. The real level of structure, as far as support, or the market will gravitate to, rather, is roughly around this range. You're not there yet. So you have structure down there. That's where the market will gravitate to, right? In my opinion, because when you have a structure, or when you're in no man's land, if you will, meaning there's nothing here stopping this from continuing to push down lower, you have a strong bearish close of this candlestick as well. Even though you have a bullish close of this weekly candle, it doesn't necessarily matter because you have one deciding factor over 30,000. You got one deciding buy factor with 30,000 sell factors. You're not going to go against 30, sell signals, not signals like you would normally get from somebody, but a signal that the market gives. You can see that, I mean, this is still very much bearish. What's important that you also take a look at, and this is why I always stress the fact that if you're using indicators like RSI or anything that's going to tell you oversold or overbought, it's probably not going to be best because they're obsolete in a trending market. Now, I wouldn't say fully obsolete. Obviously, on smaller time frames, you could execute intraday trades or maybe even scalping. But the one thing, and hopefully I'm leaving this on the chart like this because I want you guys to kind of see what I see. I mean, on a very simple idea, that's a break of previous structure, of previous low, with a pretty significant and convincing, if that, candle. That buy is probably a little bit, I would say, risky. Break of structure, or a breakout candle rather. I gotta put my contacts in. I can't see anything right now. So breakout candle, break of structure. Would I look for buys? No. But I am retesting currently on the weekly. Scale down to the daily, you can see it a little bit better. Now, there's a few things that we could do with this because there's a break of that structure. Because when we scale down, when we use different time frames, you'll be able to see everything in greater detail. So we have one sell zone. So this would be considered your aggressive sell zone, because the risk reward would not be more in your favor. But I mean, that's still very much a valid level. Let's actually take a Fibonacci retracement tool from these swing highs to these swing lows. Just chilling roughly around that 38.2. But that's an aggressive sell zone. Will actually be specific to there. But then you also can, and which it may happen, this is more along the lines of what I believe will happen, because we'll scale down to a small time frame to understand the reasonings on why I think that'll happen. This is also a level of structure up here as well, because as you can see, this was broken. It broke through. So there's another sell point. This will be considered your conservative sell. And this is nothing new. Like anybody, you guys can go find this on somebody's YouTube channel that has been trading for 2 weeks, doesn't know anything, and this is literally the first thing you will learn. I know that sounds crazy, but the first thing we understand when we start learning is you buy from the lows and you sell from the highs. So where's the next highest point I can identify where sells may come into play? Either one of those points. Now, the reason why I think it may get back to that area as far as the conservative sell, my trade setup would look something like this, is because, one, we're in a corrective phase. The market impulse lower, it has to correct. Now, where's it going to correct to? Either one of those ranges. Now, the reason why I think it might push up a little bit higher, at least to our conservative sell area, I'll get rid of a few things, is because how many times are we going to speak about this damn pattern? We have an inverted head and shoulders pattern. But the thing is, it hasn't broken to the upside yet. Oh, I didn't mean to delete it. But it has not broken yet. So you're still very much in a corrective phase. And you said you're looking to buy, looking to take it to 34,500. That's up to you, homie. If you want to take it to 34,500, all up to you. I'm not going to tell you where to take profits and put your stop losses, but I can tell you, I do think that you might be set for maybe a continued buy up to here. Then I'd be careful with that. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know the reasoning behind your buys, so it's difficult for me to obviously be like, yes, absolutely, that's great. But I don't understand the reasoning on why you did look for the buys. And that's not to sound rude, but why buy in such a strong seller's market? Why buy when we know that the dollar right now is a strong currency? Why buy when we know that the pound, or fundamentally and even technically, is currently weak? Why buy when we go into the higher time frames? We see exactly what's happening. So when I say you're safe for right now, I mean, obviously I can't tell you until Monday or Tuesday when the markets actually, start moving and when they actually open up back up on Sunday. But as far as long term, I don't believe that buy will work if you're trying to hold that forever. But if you're looking for a short term trade, intraday trade, I know I guess you're holding it over the weekend. I would say that might work out. But I would just say be very careful, because why sell or why buy in a seller's market? That's where your probabilities get less and kind of goes out the window at that point. So I do not agree with the long-term buy aspect, but maybe if you're looking at this for maybe 50, maybe 100 pips, because I know GU or pound pairs in general, 100 pips could be made in no time. Like I think this one candlestick is like, what, 76. That one candlestick here on the 4 hour is 76 pips. Or just about almost 80. That's a very good trade setup. But as far as holding it forever, nah. I'd be careful on that. because again, you're buying in a seller's market. Hint, hint. Buying in a seller's market. Obviously, there could be strong buys, but overall, what has happened? There could be strong buys, but overall, what has happened? Strong buys, overall. Strong buys, overall. You know what I mean? Buys, overall. So you never want to just say, oh, well, it looks like a buy. You can't just say it looks like a buy. It has to actually be one. And you're not going to look for strong buys in a strong seller's market. That's just not, it's not how that shit works. So hopefully that kind of helps. Hopefully that assists. I go over that more in depth as far as like understanding whether or when it is turning into a buy, obviously with students, because it's important to know when exactly it is a buy. But if there was that case right now, I would actually let you know if in fact, yes, it does look ready for it. But no, I don't believe that's the case right now. I'd be very careful with those initial buys and look for continued sells, which will lead us over to Euro GBP, a market that I actually did in fact want to take a look at, which this kind of correlates with the potential with the buys right now on the pound. But actually going to the weekly, we are reaching a very significant level of structure, or have already been here for a bit, where this market has tried to break lower, which would mean that if Euro GBP sold, the pound would be extremely powerful. Not forever just a corrective move, then you're good. So again, what I can see here is this level of current structure, this support range. What that means is Euro GBP has the potential to buy. What does that mean? That means the pound would lose strength, which will then correlate perfectly with the idea that GBP USD will then look for continued sells. Looking to sell at the neckline. You're looking to sell at the neckline on GU? You can't sell at the neckline? Why? Are you talking about the neck like this? You want to sell here? You definitely don't do that. Why would you sell if that's a bullish pattern? Oh, sell to the neckline. I see what you're saying. I read that wrong. I was like, why would you sell at the neckline? I would go beyond that, you know, like if, again, I'd be nervous for a second. I was like, don't sell at the neckline. No, I mean, if you're selling, just hold that. I mean, again, because there are people out there, not me. I'm definitely not one of those people. Sometimes I am, depending on the trade set, but they're like, if you sold from up here, would you want to take profits here? No. I'd have a better chance of taking profits here, because that's actual structure. Even though it was broken and we could have gotten more profits, I mean, it's still basically at that point. But I mean, why take profits? I mean, I'm not going to say why take profits. Duh, we know why to take profits. But in the sense of, if you're patient enough, you can just hold that one trade and then just continue to find re-entry and re-entry and re-entry, because you know the direction of that market. You know what I mean? That's usually what I'll do. A lot of people are like, why do you have fucking 30 entries on GU? I'm like, well, because I sold from up here. You know what I mean? I sold from this point here. I sold from here. This is just all fictional. You know what I mean? Just educational purposes. I didn't just go ahead and start stacking all these perfectly at these levels. But you know what I mean? If you could identify them, let's say you sold there. Obviously, I would not. But again, just for an educational idea, you know the direction, you place your entries. You hold. Don't get out. Because let's say that's a standard, that's a standard, that's a standard. You got 3 standards. This is already, what, like a million pips, I feel? And again, this is all educational. I know that's not the case. That's 600. Then you get, let's say this is another 3. Let's say this is already like another, I know it's already there, but let's say at that point, it's like another 2. At that point, like, you're looking at a good week with 1 pair, you know? So hold your trades if you are patient enough. If you need to take profits, if the market's telling you to, then obviously go ahead and take profits. But yeah, no problem. I appreciate you. Again, I appreciate you guys being on. I know this is still growing. Not too many people are on, so that's why I'm giving as much value as possible. As this grows, it'll be focused more along the lines of actually day trading with you guys. But I do want to make sure that I'm educating you as well. But yeah, any other questions? Any other markets you guys would like to take a look at? Feel free to let me know. I definitely got you. I don't really... With some of these charts, man, with some of these markets, I really didn't look too much into them because of how crazy some of them been. And what I mean crazy is they're having these ridiculous moves out of nowhere. There's been a lot of that, like just moves for no reason. A lot of what we think is supposed to be news. News doesn't do anything, and next thing you know, like FOMC did nothing, which I thought FOMC would have given us a really big reaction, but FOMC gave us nothing. But out of nowhere, We're getting these impulsive moves on gold, getting these impulsive, ridiculous moves on GJ and all these pound pairs. You know, it's very difficult, or I would say a little bit more complicated in the sense of now technical trading. Everything does have to be considered with fundamentals. But even on a technical standpoint, I'm still looking to next week as to GJ as a strong sell. Strong sell area. So one of my favorite markets to trade is, in fact, GJ. So I do want to see what we can conjure up for next week on this. Now, this is my general zone, right? I am, in fact, going to identify the highs here because GJ just wants to do whatever it wants. And if it reaches those highs again, there's a stronger chance of it actually respecting those highs. But I'm going to put it here because we're kind of already respecting that price zone. So I do want to take a look at that. Hi, Jay. Can you please check USD/JPY and NAS 100? How do you say your name, my mans? What is your risk to reward? So I'm gonna give you a professional answer. I don't have a. I'm gonna give you a professional answer. My answer. I don't have a risk to reward. That's my personal answer. I focus on consistency. I'll take a look at those two, but I want everybody to understand this, right? If you are trading, there's already so many factors that you have to take into consideration. The last thing you want to do is go into a calculator. I put in how much you have in your account, how much you want to risk, what will be this. You don't want. I mean, if you want to, by all means. I don't do that. I have a risk reward of a certain amount of pips I would like to lose on each trade, depending on the market, and then I have a take profit of none. If I can hold a trade for 1,000 pips, guess what? I'm going to try to get 1,000 pips. If my stop loss was 30, my stop loss was 30. If my stop loss was 50, my stop loss was 50. That's my risk. But my reward, I'll try to catch it all if I can. Ask catching, right? I'll try to be like Pokemon. Catch them all. Catch all the pips. That's just me. That's a personal level. Somebody would sit here and be like, yes, I do 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to 4. And nobody's really taking that much time to do all that calculation. I'll just be real with you. just to be as honest as possible. So am I doing that calculation? No. I identify an entry, I put my stop loss, and I wait for profits. If my stop loss is hit, no worries, because I have a discipline of 30 to 50 pips depending on the market. If it's gold, maybe 100, maybe 150. I know a lot of people are like, really? Do you understand how gold moves? That could be one candle. And then depending on NAS 100 and indices, obviously a lot more. You're not going to have a 100 pip stop loss. That's literally, a tick. That'll happen in a few seconds on that. So what will your trail stop loss be? Damn, you asking. Sometimes I don't trail stop loss, homie. Sometimes I just let the trade run. And that's another thing too. Like, if you're putting a trail stop loss on your MT4, guess what? It follows way too close. It's going to be hit. So I actually don't use a trailing stop loss on my MT4. So that's just me. What's good, King Visions? So let's go ahead and take a look at USD/JPY. I'm angry at it, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So now, I mean, this kind of correlates with what we're looking at before with the dollar. The dollar's increasing in value, so USD/JPY will continue to buy. I mean, look at it, everybody. It is very important that we understand what we are actually looking at. Is this in a bullish market or a bearish market? Probably bullish. So what should we be doing? Probably continue to look for buys. Have we broken above previous structure points? Yes, we have. How do we identify that? Look left. Was that level of structure broken? Yes, it was. Can we look further left and identify further structure being broken? Yes, we can. Because this candle here on the weekly is closed. So what does that tell me? Bulls are still within the market. Where is it probably going to reach up to? Here. Simple. That is a very easy way of determining the direction and where this market on USD/JPY is going to go. Now that is broken, I was actually looking for some sells around here, to be completely honest. I actually did, in fact, place sells here because if you look left to get right, I mean, that was a significant structure point. What was support ended up being a level of resistance. And you can see here that's broken. USD/JPY buys. Simple as that. The dollar's increasing in value. We're not going to go against the dollar. So I do think that this will continue to buy up to at least this area of structure here, being the strongest point of resistance that we can currently find. And I'm on the weekly time frame. So what does that mean? Long-term buys on USD/JPY. And then you said NAS 100. I still have no clue why people love this market. Like, so my question to everybody is, if in fact you do not know how to trade, if you are not consistent, if you have not made a withdrawal, why do you guys trade this pair? It's It's mind-boggling to me sometimes. I was looking for a sell within these levels, but it got stronger. Yeah, I was looking for sells around those levels as well. But again, just like I said, it's too bullish. Just to go back to USD/JPY, I'll go back to the other one here in a second. But yeah, I mean, that I was looking for sells here too. Actually, everybody. I think there's like, I think big banks were even looking for sells there because everybody's like bank trading. They know everything. They really don't. So I would say that that level of structure being broken, we're just looking for continued buys to the upside no matter what. I mean, that's a pretty easy one to see. I mean, as far as with the structure being broken now, because it was easy to see sells from there and sells didn't happen. But and I just did GU, Alex. I did GBP USD. If you want to go ahead and go back and look at the recording, or actually you can skim back a little bit. It was like maybe 2 pairs before this, and I actually went over GU pretty extensively for you guys, so you can just go ahead and take a look at that. I definitely got you. And I'll post some of the charts that I have here in the Discord. If you're not a part of the Discord, the link for it is here in the description. So that way you guys can stay updated with any sessions and obviously any signals that I'll be putting out and any and all charts that I'll be posting for everybody to take advantage of as well. So USD/JPY, strong buys in my opinion. I will go over to NAS 100 real quick and see what we got. Oh, not NAS 10. NAS 100. All right, so again, being on the weekly time frame, I like to scale out from the higher time frame and scale down. So I'm just going to actually see what we have here. Actually, we'll go to the weekly. Oh, well, I mean, this is a pretty easy one too. Correlation. This is going to buy. Gold's in strong sells. If gold is in strong sells, then indices are strongly buying. I do see this continue to buy, especially after this weekly close of this candle. So that's an easy one too. And a double bottom here on the daily. So we got a double bottom here in the daily. We're at a level of significant structure. No matter what anybody says, this is a bullish market. Look at this. This is still very bullish. It's maintaining its bullish structure, market structure rather. It's not taking out any more lows. With the weekly close of that candle, I mean, that's a strong buy. You are looking for buys leading into next week, which will then indicate strong sells for gold next week as well. In my honest opinion, I think that might be the case. And then you can see here, it's already broken above one structure point. If we actually just do this, I'll delete everything. Probably see it a little bit better here on the 4-hour. But I mean, just look at it. So I'm confused with you guys sometimes. I don't know if you guys be looking at this shit. Because I know it's hard to tell with some things within trading, but it's very easy to, like the hardest thing with trading is entries. That's the only thing that everybody struggles with, but you know how to actually trade. I know that sounds weird, but if you know what a double bottom is, you know what a head and shoulders pattern is, you know if a market is buying or selling, we know that. So if you can see the structural break, the trend line break, the market highs, the higher lows, bullish engulfing candles, a weekly, close in a bullish way, you know what the market's going to do, but you guys don't know where to enter. I think that's what it is. I would not focus on anything else. If you guys are confused about trading, I don't know what to look for. Just do what I do. Scale to the higher time frame. Is it up? Is it down? If it's up, then you're looking for buys. If it's down, you're obviously looking for sells. Same thing on the daily, maybe even on the 4-hour. If it's up, you're looking for buys. If it's down, you're looking for sells. Keep it that simple and then proceed to identify where you would like to buy and or sell. If you see breaks of structure points and trend lines, then you kind of already know what's happening. Oh, it broke a bearish trend line. If it broke a bearish trend line, it's probably going to end up bullish. We can kind of see that currently with NAS 100. So since we have broken above previous highs, since we have broken above a bearish trend line, I would be looking for continued buys leading into next week for NAS 100, SPX 500, US 30. They are all the same. They move pretty much almost identical. Like this is NAS 100. Guess what, everybody? Go look at US 30. What's the difference? So, indices, NAS 100, US 30, SPX 500, looking for strong buys leading into next week, which will then correlate for gold leading into strong sells. Bing bang. So, any other charts? Any other questions that you guys have? Feel free to let me know. Definitely want to make sure that I'm helping to the best of my abilities. I'm skimming just through some charts really fast. See if there's anything else we could potentially talk about. I got to redo this whole chart. This one worked out beautifully. Out of all my trades, just that one, USD CHF, wants to work out beautifully. So I am just, again, the markets have been a little weird. So I've been taking a, I would say, less risky approach to make sure that, nobody's injured in the markets, because the markets have just kind of been relentless and unforgiving for the majority of people. So I am taking a quick look at some things, obviously, to review for next week. But even with this analysis, I don't want you guys going ahead and be like, yo, this is for sure going to happen. And it doesn't. That's not how the markets work. Just because I do some analysis and say it's probably going to do something there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to. So be very, very careful with that. But I do like the way AUD USD is setting up here with a harmonic pattern. And I'm not going to go over harmonics. I'm not going to go over measurements and all that shit. I am going to do a little harmonic trading for students, though, because I personally love harmonics. I just have not traded them in so long. But in the sense of why they are valuable and how profitable they are, they're very, very good. So I'll be doing a little harmonic course for you guys, for legacy students as well. Just something I kind of wanted to do in my spare time, honestly. Just kind of want to go over that. But I did not actually see the time. I didn't realize I could only be on for an hour, because I actually do need to bounce out. Family matters, everybody. I do apologize. Unfortunately, being the breadwinner, or one of the breadwinners of your family, you got to make sure that you take care of everybody else, which is not a bad thing. If you guys ever make it to a point in life, make sure that you give back to everybody. You know what I mean? People in your family, your friends, you know what I mean, who cannot afford things or need assistance and help. That's very important. And I'm over here in New York City doing the same thing, just holding some family down. So I do apologize. I actually do need to bounce out from this call, but we will be jumping onto another Forex call Monday morning. So we're going to be doing these every day, Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday will be at 8:30, or I'm sorry, 7 in the morning, not 8:30, 7 a.m. in the morning. We might change up the times just to make sure that I'm getting everybody on, staying relevant to everybody, and making sure that we are trading at a correct time, and really making sure that when we do these calls, we have a bunch of people on. So that way, if you don't have a question, somebody else might, and they might be able to, you'll be like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was a question I needed an answer to, and you get some knowledge. So Monday through Thursday, early in the morning at 7, and then on Fridays we'll be doing them at 5 p.m. at market close. So with that being said, I do apologize for actually having to run a little bit early. I completely forgot at 6 o'clock here my time, I did need to hit the road. So I do apologize for that. But for everybody who was on the call, thank you guys for being on. Hopefully you were able to get some knowledge and some ideas leading into next week. Monday, obviously, we'll touch base and go over this a lot more. For legacy students, I got some news for you guys. I'm probably going to be dropping some new, well, definitely be dropping some new value for you guys. I know my trading personally for the last, I would say 2-3 weeks has not been great, but I mean, can't blame me, man. The fucking COVID virus, and then we got this war and everything. So everything's been kind of like choppy on my end, but I have been working in the background to make sure that we are going to, I would say, expand and grow exponentially. So don't be concerned if you start seeing hundreds of people in our chat group on the VIP section, VIP idea, because of what I'm trying to do. And just to kind of give an idea, I'm trying to figure out something. I'm working with actual people that I do trust, because I did this once and it was a terrible mistake. But these people I do trust, and I'm actually not paying for anything, so I love that factor. So it's not a discrepancy on my end. It's actually just being done as a favor from somebody. I'm trying to, or not trying to. I'm in the works of creating an EA that will help actually pass like prop firms, MT4. What is it? FTMO. MMF, my Forex funds, so that way students can obviously get access to higher capital. So that'll be for legacy students, obviously. That'll be absolutely free. I'm still working on that. I'm not going to charge for something I didn't pay for, so I got you guys. And that's just from the gratitude and from my heart. So I'm in the works of that. I'm not saying I was going to come out today, tomorrow, in a week, but I am in the works of that. So that's something in the future. And I'm also going to be bringing back some binary sessions and also doing some scalping with you guys on US 30, NAS 100, and all those other indices, even gold. So that way we could make some good money at a quick pace. So definitely some new value for legacy students. For everybody who's not a legacy student, you're still going to get value as well. If you're not a part of the Discord, feel free to please go into the description below, grab the Discord link. I will be posting charts, keeping you guys updated with any and all sessions that we will jump on. And yes, we will also be you will also be updated with any signals that I'll be posting out for you guys. I'll post maybe 1 or 2 signals a day for you all, or when the market permits. So that way, obviously, you guys can stay profitable while following the legacy group. So again, thank you guys for being, taking the time out to be on this call. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know at any time. I'm more than available for every last one of you guys, whether it's here on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. But I do appreciate every last one of you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Please stay safe. Tell somebody you love them. That's really important as well. Definitely tell somebody you love them. And please, everybody, have an amazing weekend. God bless. Thank you all so much. And I'll see you guys first thing Monday morning. Legacy students, I'll see you guys here in about 2 hours. We're going to be doing a session. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you, everybody.